Do the Cardinals kind of have 2 first-round picks in the 2025 draft? Yeah. What do I mean? I'm not crazy, I promise. Let's discuss.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Cardinals, Alex Clancy here. Follow me on Twitter, Clancy's Corner. Follow the podcast at Locked On AZ Cards. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen, free wherever you get your podcasts, and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by the Game Time app. That's not a question, it's a statement. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Got a fun grab bag show today. Going to do more draft-centric tomorrow. There were a couple of things that happened. There were a couple of things I saw on Twitter, and I'm now paying off what I said I was going to pay off today, because yesterday I wanted to do a full show on Jalen Ramsey and why I've talked myself into, if the price is right, both giving away and the contract that you'd extend him to, it would be beneficial for the Cardinals to try and make a move for him. Just go check it out, okay? Just go check it out. No, that's dumb. Have you watched it? Well, no. It's like, okay, kind of meet me halfway here. Maybe. Meet me 20% of the way. The Cardinals are doing a good thing. And they've done some form or fashion of this in the past, but I wanted to reiterate and give positive reinforcement for things that rational and competent organizations do around this time of year. We're going to revisit the trade from Monti Ossenfort's first draft 2 years ago, almost 3 full years ago, come next week, where they moved down from 3 to 12 with Houston. We'll go down and look at where all the players that ended up being a part of that draft after all the picks were made over the course of 2 seasons. And then today, this is the payoff. So everybody that's watched every day, as you know, I've been on team draft the best offensive lineman available at 16. And I've thought of it like this. And I think that there's a better way to simplify why I feel how I feel, compounded with the fact that the Cardinals kind of have 2 first-round picks, and I'll explain. First, it's a less deep offensive line draft than pass rush defensive tackle. We've discussed that ad nauseum at this point, okay? And for me, it's kind of like the scenario of, like, if you have 2 quarterbacks that are vying for the starting quarterback role in camp, you're screwed. You don't have a starting quarterback. You've got 2 backups that are vying for the starting role. It's kind of like that with the pass rusher position for the Cardinals at 16. They're not going to get a top 10 graded guy at 16 because he'll go top 10, regardless of, what quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers are taken in the top 10. If there's always one offensive lineman and one top flight pass rush, Abdul Carter is this one, even though he can play all across the defensive line. Now you've got reports from the 33rd team and elsewhere that, like, the average mock ADP across all the major pundits across the NFL draft landscape has James Pierce as like the 34th picked player in the draft now. It's like, with that much volatility, it's like, you know what? I'll take a dude who will produce because you saw it in college and you have a need, and that's offensive line. And coupled with that is the fact that I did some math. I actually did some research today. I know. You guys can take hopefully there's no trust fall situations. You have somebody to catch you when you faint. But I made a list of the skill position players, quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends that are ranked in the top 50. And I looked at a bunch of different lists. Okay, so this isn't exact, but you'll know the majority of these names and you'll see my point. So 32 picks in the first round, the Cardinals pick 47th. So that's 15 picks from the end of the first to the Cardinals pick at 47 in the second round. These are I think it's 16 names of players who are in the top 50, quarterback, wide receiver, running back, tight end, all of whom play positions the Cardinals aren't going to draft in the first 2 rounds, you would think. Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe. When you say Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe, all those guys aren't going in the first round. When was the last time 4 quarterbacks didn't go in the top 35? It's like every year. 2 quarterbacks sneak in. Ashton Genty, Omarion Hampton, T-Mac from Arizona, Matthew Golden, Tyler Warren, Colston Loveland, Travis Hunter. I'm going to include him as a wide receiver. Maybe that's cheating, but I don't really care. Luther Burden, Emeka Egbuka, Mason Taylor, tight end, Trevion Henderson, and Caleb Johnson, 2 running backs. Okay? And I didn't even put Quinyon Jenkins on there. So that's 16 dudes. 32 plus 16 is 48, Cardinals 47. This is an exercise to show how well positioned the Cardinals are in this specific draft for the needs that they have, which will allow them to, quote unquote, reach for an offensive lineman at 16 if they choose to do so, even though I don't consider things reaching when you want to get your dude and you're not picking again until the second round, and that aforementioned dude will be gone off the board. And it's an inexact science, of course. I just wanted to show how many skill position players plus quarterbacks are going to go in the top 50. It's like closer to half than not. So it allows the Cardinals and their board to be a lot more flexible than many years in the draft. Every draft year is different. Every draft has its different, strengths. Every year, people force the thought that, oh, this is the best quarterback in the draft, so he's going to be a franchise guy, when in all reality, he may be a C+ calculus student who gets an A because he got the highest grade on the final exam when you're grading on a curve. And you look at the emergence of tight ends. Luckily, the Cardinals check for the next decade. Don't have to think about it. Set and forget. And you look at how deep the running back room is and how many teams need running back help. Cardinals, check. Don't need it for now. Okay, going into 2025 for now. And you look at all the Cardinals' needs outside of offensive line, because this is my show and this is why I think, this is our show. I'm the dumb mouthpiece for it. But going with my thought process that if you don't protect Kyler Murray, none of this is going to work, you can still get a defensive tackle or edge rusher at 47 who in other drafts could have a first-round grade or close enough to it to where you're getting value in the second round. Does that make sense? I wanted to kind of formulate this as such where you could also argue, I wanted to formulate this as such to where, in the comments, you could also argue, well, you could take edge rusher and then get value with the offensive line in the second round. No, you can't. It's completely different. It's completely different. Kelvin Banks may drop to the Cardinals. Tackle from Texas may drop to the Cardinals at 16. You take a left tackle at 16 and you figure it out. Well, they have Jonah Williams. So, Paris Johnson Jr. moved to the left. So, Tristan Wirfs played on the right side. Penny Sewell plays on the right side. It's like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You figure it out. And if you want to bring in more of a traditional right tackle, you draft Josh Simmons, you move back and draft Josh Simmons if that's possible. Or if you think he's the dude, you draft him at 16. It doesn't matter what the big boards say. It only matters what the Arizona Cardinals board says. But I wanted to show this as man, there's a lot of dudes to play wide receiver, running back, quarterback, and tight end. They're going to go in the first round and a half. And the Cardinals can absolutely pounce on it in the second round, which looks to be a first-round pick light for the positions that they're targeting, which is a great position to be in, especially with the Cardinals are trajectory-wise and also in a roster-building sense. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Let's look back at the fateful day where the Cardinals traded back from 3 to 12 with the Houston Texans and then moved back up, trading with the Detroit Lions. What does the full extent of that trade look like now? Looks pretty good. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by the old Game Time app. See, I didn't do it as a question there. I did it as a statement. There's nothing like the atmosphere of an NBA playoff game. Every bucket, every defensive stop, every moment feels huge. It's electric in the arena. With Game Time, you can be part of it without the stress of last-minute ticket hunting. Game Time makes it easy to get playoff tickets, even when demand is sky high. Prices on the app actually go down as tip-off gets closer, and their last-minute deals can save you up to 60%, man. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Another way you can take the guesswork out is before you buy the tickets on the app, it shows you a panoramic view of your view from the seat that you would be seeing live before you buy the tickets, so you don't have to guess. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets. Lowest price. Guaranteed. Please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked On Arizona Cardinals. Hit the subscribe button, man. It's only getting better from here. If that's not a country song, it should be. Not really a country guy. The Cardinals hired Monti Ossenfort, hired Jonathan Gannon, hired Drew Petzing, hired Nick Rallis. All four of them had never been hired in a role in that position that they had been in before. Okay. You go into free agency at the end of the 2022 season. There's a lot of uncertainty. Kyler Murray's out for at least half of next season. You don't really know where the leaders are. Budda Baker. You don't really know what the roster is going to be when the retention rate was less than 50%. Steve Keim left a mess. Cliff Kingsbury left a mess. And it was Monti Ossenfort's job to pick it up. Brought in Kazir White. Okay. They didn't do a whole lot else. Brought in Yelta Froholt, I believe, was that year. Okay. Didn't really know what this roster was going to be. You get to the draft. Oh, Monti Ossenfort. Well, yeah, he was part of multiple Super Bowl rings with the Patriots, but look at the last couple drafts for the Tennessee Titans. Not great. Traded A.J. Brown on draft night. Not great. And what happened next started the ripple effect from dysfunction to functionality. From no culture and a foundation kept together by crazy glue and Band-Aids to a complete repouring of a foundation and a complete shift in culture. That's where it started. And with the third overall pick, do you remember, like, a little aside from my soliloquy there? I don't know if you remember, like, I don't know if you were watching on TV or listening or, whatever it was, just following on your phone. Like, on the graphics on TV, I think it was on ESPN. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. When the Cardinals were on the clock, 3, 2, 1, that Arizona Cardinals logo didn't change for like 3 seconds. You're like, oh, they're drafting Will Anderson. Sweet. Okay. Whatever. They're going to get their pass rusher for the future. And then it switched. You're like, oh, everything is going to change now. What does this mean? Like, do you remember that? It was very, and leave it in the comments. For those who remember, it was like, oh, okay, cool. Will Anderson, Alabama, set and forget, no problem at all. And then it changed, like, too late. You know what, like a delayed whistle, usually in NBA games, like, it was like that. It's like, oh, what's going to happen now? Because there were rumblings they were going to trade back because they needed everything. But you need to find a trade partner. You need to know how far back to trade, all that stuff. For those that forget what the trade was or need a little refresher, the Cardinals traded the 3rd overall pick and the same year's 4th round pick for Houston's 12th overall pick and the 33rd overall pick, and then a 2024 first rounder and 2024 third rounder. And this shifted a little bit. The Cardinals gave up a little bit. I believe they gave up 34, which they had just gotten from Houston, to move up to 6 to draft Paris Johnson Jr. So the lot that each team got, Will Anderson Jr. for Houston, and then Kalen Bullock was the 2023 4th round pick safety. What the Cardinals got from this trade collectively after all the moves were made, Paris Johnson Jr., Bija Ojulari, Garrett Williams, Darius Robinson, Elijah Jones. Okay, so let's talk about the low-hanging fruit first. This didn't blow up in their face, and that's obvious. Okay, so many people still in the comments. Well, they should have stuck and picked Will Anderson, Paris Johnson Jr. Loathing the Cardinals and watching an Arizona Cardinals podcast every day is some form of torture that I don't understand that people go through. Unless you can see at least some sort of glimmer of positivity that's come since that draft. The Cardinals have their left tackle for the future. They've got their slot corner, CB1, who's going to reset the market when he's up for his contract. B.J. Ojolari's TBD, Darius Robinson's TBD, and Elijah Jones's TBD, all of whom had injuries. But if you tell me the Cardinals got Paris Johnson Jr. and Garrett Williams for Will Johnson, I would take it. I would take it. The fact that they got two guys who at least showed flashes, and if they can be 75% of what the Cardinals hope they could be at 100%, if they can be 75% of that, this defensive front's going to be really good for a long time. And I think truly what it showed, what it was a microcosm, and we didn't notice it at the time because nobody knew which way was up. Media members, fans, team, didn't matter. Nobody knew which way was up for the Arizona Cardinals organization. It was something that shook everybody to the core in a good way for a large portion of us when they acted like, oh my God, he actually fired Steve Keimer, sent him to pasture, whatever it was. Whatever they wanted to mix it with, rehab, whatever it was to make it look like that he wasn't a terrible GM. It's fine. Fire Cliff Kingsbury after giving them both extensions the year prior that hadn't kicked in yet. It's like, oh my God, he actually did it. Oh my God. Now what? Oh, which way is up? Oh, do I have the bends? What's going on here? Am I under an avalanche and don't know which way is up? Like, it was a weird, unconventional time with zero certainty that this was a better situation than the toxic situation that we had experienced with this team for 10 years or longer. So coming out the other side now, it looks like it was the microcosm of Monti Ossenfort's game plan being put into place from day one. Ho-hum in free agency because they had so many needs, didn't want to overspend, didn't have a whole lot of cheese at that point, comparatively speaking, to the last 18 months. Draft. Go get your positions of need that are quote-unquote premium positions. I always challenge the fact, what's a premium position? It's whatever your team needs at that point. Oh, it's left tackle, it's pass rusher, it's corner. I get what premium needs are. And if the Cardinals have two bookend tackles for the next decade, the position of need, the premium position for them could be an off-ball linebacker. It doesn't matter. It's whatever builds your roster out. I think it's so lazy just to say, oh, it's a premium position. Every different team has a premium position. You're saying Budda Baker safety hasn't been premium position for the Cardinals? Give it a rest. But you looked at the Cardinals roster as a tabula rasa, clean slate, need everything. Yeah, you go over the traditional powers. Left tackle, corner, pass rusher. Those are the first three position groups, and wide receiver that he drafted Michael Wilson in the third round too, that Monti Ossenfort went after in the first round, in his first draft. And he got a first-round pick in 2024. So you could say that both teams won. This isn't like, who won the trade? I think both teams won. Both teams got what they desperately needed at the time. Cardinals needed to fill out a damn roster that they could field on Sundays. And the Texans were a year ahead. They had just signed DeMeco Ryans, and they needed their stud pass rusher, and they got him. Worked out for everybody. The year before that, I believe, was the Derek Stingley, Jalen Petrie draft by the Texans. So they already had a couple pieces on defense, and they brought in Danielle Hunter last year. Like, the Texans are a year ahead of the Cardinals in the rebuild. And yes, it would have been pretty sweet if the Texans were terrible last year or 2 years ago. So the Cardinals could have got a pick that was better than 27. But the trade at worst for the Cardinals was a wash. And you'll take it for a first-time GM who knew exactly where to allocate the necessary draft capital to make this team at least sustainable during their first year without their quarterback playing for the first, 10 games, 9 games, 10 games. It's a home run. It's almost 3 years ago that happened. That's insane to me. And things have been moving in the right trajectory since. Sorry for some, it's not fast enough. I don't know what to tell you. Go scroll on TikTok to get your dopamine hit for the day. Slow and steady. Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. The Arizona Cardinals are doing a good thing at the right time. Next. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by our friends over at LinkedIn. as a small business owner, your work doesn't end when the clock hits 5. Your business is always on your mind, which means when it's time to hire, you need a partner that works just as hard as you do. And that's where LinkedIn Jobs comes in. When you clock out, LinkedIn clocks in. LinkedIn makes it easy to post your job for free, share it with your network, and get qualified candidates all in one place. This is how it works. The post your job feature, okay? It can help you write job descriptions and then quickly get your job in front of the right people and candidates with deep candidate insights. And here's a pro tip. Add the hashtag hiring frame to your profile picture to double your reach to qualified candidates. No wonder 72% of small businesses say LinkedIn helps find high-quality hires. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms, conditions apply. We're getting close. A week away. So many possibilities. So many possibilities. I think tomorrow, no. Let's rephrase. Tomorrow, I'm going to do another updated version of trade up, stand pat, trade back. Because I think that, and especially this time of year, exercising your brain muscle for all possibilities, which is obviously what Monti Ossenfort is doing. Spoke to the media yesterday. He didn't say anything. Like, I could read quotes. We could watch paint dry. They ain't saying anything. They're not saying jack. Okay. I think the trade up option, depending on return necessary, depending on who drops, could be a viable option, especially with what I mentioned. I'm not saying move from 16 to 6 or 16 to 4 or whatever and have to give up a bunch of draft capital. That's not what I'm saying. I'll discuss more tomorrow. I think it's worth discussing, especially if they see Will Johnson as a guy that can be transformative, who's not going to get past 11 or 12. And it'll cost you your 4th round pick or something to move up 4 spots or something like that. I think it's worth the discussion. We'll discuss tomorrow. Trade up, stand pat, trade back. The Cardinals are doing a very good thing. They've done some form or fashion in the past, but it's the right time. I got this email because I'm on the media thing. It's not a big deal. So I'm pulling up. So the title is Cardinals and SeatGeek to host free NFL draft party at State Farm Stadium. It's going to be on the Great Lawn from 4 to 9. Everything's free. It's going to be hosted by Adrian Wilson, like the Adrian and Paul Calvisi, who's obviously a staple here, Arizona sports, so it's free. It's on the big lawn. It's for 5 hours. You get to enjoy the party, and this is something that I know. While a bunch of teams do this, and while it doesn't overshadow the casitas and all that baloney that Michael Bidwell does, little things like this, little nuances like this, they go a long way, in my opinion. I think it should be commended. It's not like they're donating free tickets to everybody for all the games at home. No, they're raising the prices for season ticket holders. So it's obviously taken on a spectrum of good to bad what Michael Bidwell chooses to do with his business. But this is a good thing. Get to go out with the family, can get upwards of 4 tickets per family. It's hosted by Adrian Wilson. The Adrian Wilson thing is fascinating to me also. For those that have been a fan for a long time, or those that, have watched my dumb face spew whatever I spew out. Adrian Wilson was interviewed, at least for the GM role, after Steve Keim got fired. And he had been with the Cardinals a long time, standout safety for the Cardinals for a long time. When I hosted or co-hosted shows with Kwame Lassiter, who gave me, I don't know, for those that don't know or don't remember, Kwame Lassiter, former Arizona Cardinal, gave me my start in radio, this little internet radio station. I moved out to Arizona and had a mutual friend. He introduced me to him. He goes, all right, let's see what you got, kid. If you're not, I'm not going to do you any favors here. And I ended up being with him for 4+ years, and it was great. He taught me about football, like real football. And he had such glowing things to say about Adrian Wilson always. Yeah, I miss Kwame, man. Passed away a few years ago. Adrian Wilson coming back kind of burying the hatchet, just like Patrick Peterson did. I think is like these optics, these little wrinkles, these little nuances to just the overwhelming brand of the Cardinals is a good thing. It's a good thing. And it's not something that's going to be super impactful where it's like, oh, all the free agents are going to want to come here now. No. This is more for an in-house thing for the fans. Adrian Wilson, emceeing something where he very well should have gotten a front office role here with the Cardinals that was better than what he had before, but they wanted to go completely outside of the organization. He was kind of collateral damage with that, which sucks. And it was the right move at the same time, which sucks. And it was the right move. So the fact that he comes back, he's emceeing it with Calvisi, 4 tickets a family, all free, 4 to 9, great lawn, get to enjoy the draft, everybody together. I think it's an absolute home run. And once again, this is not like an absolute, world-beating, everything's changing thing. And I know that they've done things like this. I just think that it hits different with Adrian Wilson emceeing and where the Cardinals are in their transformative state, in what you'd hope to come out the other side with as close to perpetual relevancy as possible. Trade up, stand back, trade back, an updated version after all of free agency and everything we know now. I'll do that tomorrow. Remember, without you, there is no me. I'll talk to you tomorrow.